Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today, and welcome to this educational presentation where I present these webinars free every week. Now, today I want to talk to you about my 50-year trading strategy. This is a method I've been trading every day for nearly 5 decades, and I'm going to show you why it is actually such a winning method. And I'm actually going to give you the first 2 rules of this method. For example, let's take a look here at this chart in NVIDIA. Okay, now as we can see, originally the stock was going up. So it looks like we're in some type of an uptrend. But then all of a sudden, we started to have a series of downward days. And we say to ourselves, well, wow, I guess that uptrend's over. We're in a downtrend, so maybe I should just stay on the sidelines or not do anything. You're kind of confused as to what to do, so you totally avoid it. Well, with the first rule I'm going to teach you today that is included in this 50-year strategy, you would have known that even though the bars were recently going down, the overall trend was up. And secondly, you would have known by a simple rule and requirement that the short-term trend was also up. Now, combined with the remaining 2 rules of the strategy, a buy signal would have been generated right here. And had you taken that signal coming into this month, you could have potentially captured 102 points. That's how simple this method is, and that's how prosperous it can be. So this is what we're going to be talking about today, my 50-year trading strategy. Now, everything you're seeing today, right now, and what you'll be seeing later on in the presentation is displayed coming from the platform I co-created with Proprietary Strategies. This is the PTS Primo charting platform that actually auto-identifies these strategy number 4 signals. So welcome once again. My name is Stephen Primo. I am the president and founder of Specialist Trading. If you're new to my webinars, I have been trading now for actually 48 years. In a couple of months, it'll be 49 years. I started my trading career on the floor of the Pacific Stock Exchange. I was on the trading floor for 16 years, and 9 of them, I was a specialist. That's where we get the name Specialist Trading. Now, specialists aren't around that much anymore with the advent of electronic trading, but in the old days, if you wanted to buy or sell a stock, the floor broker who would take your order over the phone would walk up to the trader who specialized in making a market in that particular stock. So that's what a specialist was, and that's what I did for 9 years. I made markets in stocks like IBM, US Air, Waste Management. I traded through the crash of 1987 and the bull market that followed. But in the mid-90s, I left the floor to pursue other interests. I managed money. I also started trading my own account, more of my own money. And I would say about 15 years ago, I teamed up with Proprietary Strategies, my sister site, where we formulated specialist trading with one goal in mind, simply to educate traders around the world. You see, the reason why we focus on educating and not simply force-feeding you signals is because the one thing I've noticed in nearly 5 decades is that the traders that are still around, the ones that are still trading to this day, make their own trading decisions. They don't rely on an outside news source to tell them what they think the market's doing, or they don't listen to some guy on TV after the market is closed to tell them what stock to buy or sell. They don't have or subscribe to signal services, or newsletters or gurus they listen to in chat rooms and trading rooms. They have a plan in place, and they simply apply it each and every day when a setup has occurred. Now, the only way you can get to that point is if you're provided with the knowledge, the tips and tools that will make you feel comfortable. So that's our goal, to provide you with all these consistent methods and techniques that I've accumulated in nearly 5 decades, and we work with you to help you make your own trading decisions. And you'll see that attention to detail in today's educational class. Now, before we begin, we are required to share this with you, so please take a moment to view our disclaimer. I'm going to share with you a lot of performance results by using this 50-year trading strategy, but please remember that we can in no way guarantee that any of the results I'm about to share with you will be repeated in the future. And since we are first and foremost an educational company, all examples are strictly for educational purposes only. Now, another way to get education on a daily basis is 2 different ways to follow us on X, formerly known as Twitter. There's our handle right there. I would suggest copying that down. It's abbreviation for Specialist Trading, at SPC, LSTTRADG. Every day I post anywhere from 5 to 7 different snapshots of signals our methods have generated, also little bits of financial wisdom. And you can also subscribe to us on YouTube. We are presenting these live webinars live on YouTube. So for all of you following us, please hit the subscribe button. You'll have a lot more content to see us on YouTube. So 2 different ways to get more education. Okay, with that stated, let's begin today's educational class. And we're going to be talking about this 50-year strategy, which I've been trading for nearly 50 years, is strategy number 4. Okay, let me share with you some of the highlights of this particular method. It's firstly a pattern recognition method. So this means we're looking for a pattern that repeats itself over and over again on the chart in any market and in any time frame. It repeats itself over and over, and this is what we teach you in the course. Now, I'm going to share with you the first 2 requirements of that pattern today. It's designed for traders looking to catch quick momentum. Now, when I first was introduced to this strategy on the floor of the stock exchange, we were in and out using strategy number 4 in a matter of minutes. But now we've developed ways to be in it days, weeks, even months, if you like. It only uses one indicator. I want to share with you what that is, because remember, it's based on a pattern. Now, the advantages to trading strategy number 4 are it's extremely consistent. Now, I know a lot of you think, oh, well, a consistent method means there's a lot of winners. Well, sure, there can be a lot of winners at times, but that's not what we mean by extremely consistent. A consistent method is one that's able to recoup a loss, often on the very next setup. So what we mean by consistency is there is an awareness you will have losses from time to time, but what you want is a method that's able to recoup that loss so that you have a type of 2-step forward, 1-step back approach. It makes you a part of the process. And the way it does is we give you all these different variables to meet your needs. We realize that no 2 traders should ever trade alike. That's why we don't believe in trading rooms or spitting out signals, because you have to be a part of the process. Remember, you have to make your own decisions. Some traders like to get in and out quickly. Other traders like to stay on for the long haul. Other traders like very minimal risk, while still some traders have a large account size and they can take these large risks. So the point is we have to use these variables to fit each and every one's different risk parameters and different ways in which of trading. You have to be a part of the process to make your own trading decisions. And lastly, it's designed to be as simple as possible. When you see these first 2 rules I'm going to share with you, once again, these are the first 2 rules of the method. You're going to say to yourself, this is just too simple. I mean, there's no way this can work. But then you'll see through a number of examples, and then I'll challenge you to go back and look at your own trading examples. If you had applied these first 2 rules, how simple they were, but how powerful they could have been in making you a more consistent trader. All right, so let's go through the first 2 rules, rules 1 and 2 of strategy number 4, usually reserved for the people who have purchased our method around the world. We have students trading this in virtually 115 countries around the world and in every state in the United States. But I'm going to share with you the first 2 strategy rules. Okay, rule number 1. Buy or sell signals can only be entered. If it's a buy signal, it can only be entered if price is above the 50-period moving average. If it's a sell signal, it can only be entered if price is below the 50-period moving average. This basically means you will never have a buy signal generated below the 50. And you will never have a sell signal generated. By sell, we mean to go short or to purchase some puts in that downward direction. Why? Because the odds are out of your favor if you're out of sync with the overall trend. We want to give you an edge. And the edge is here that you are in sync with the overall trend. And the simplest way to apply that is to know where price is in relation to the 50-period moving average. So let me show what I mean here on this generic chart. All right, as we see here, price is above the 50-period moving average, so the overall trend is up. This means we will only be looking to identify buy signals. We will never look to go short. Now, sure, you can always sell to exit a position, but when we mean sell, we mean going short. And then secondly, if price is below the 50-period moving average, the way it is here in this generic chart, well, then you will only look to identify short signals or selling signals. But why? Because the overall trend is down. You always want to be in sync with the overall trend. And if you don't believe how powerful this simple tool is, this simple requirement is, go back and look at your last 10 or 20 trades. I can almost guarantee you, and it makes no difference what time frame or what market, but I can almost guarantee you the reason why you had losses was because you were buying below the 50-period moving average and you were selling to go short above the 50-period moving average. Think how simple this is. This leads us to rule number 2 now. Now that we know the overall trend, we want to find the short-term trend. And the way we do that is buy and sell signal bars must close. If it's a buy setup, it must close in the top 25% of its range. If it's a sell setup for a sell trade, it must close in the bottom 25% of their range. So what does this mean? The signal bar has to close in the top or bottom 25% of the range. Well, we see here that price is above the 50. And you see bars that close in that top 25%, there's a higher propensity that they will continue to go in that direction. Now, someone would say, yeah, but Steve, look at it. It fell out of bed here. If I would have gone short, I could have made a lot of money to the downside. Well, sure, you would have had to been quick, because look what we have here. We have another bar closing in the top 25% of its range, and then look what happened. So if you had held on too long, the way most traders do, you would have given back all of your profits and then turned that trade into a loss. This is why it's much better, and simpler, I should say, to be in sync with the overall trend. Okay. Same thing works to the downside. Price is below the 50, so the overall trend is down. We have a bar closing in the bottom 25%, and look what happened. Rather than saying, well, that's a good buy opportunity because we closed lower, well, no, you're out of sync with the overall trend, and the short-term trend is telling you it wanted to go lower. Now, these are the first 2 rules of strategy number 4. You can apply them to any strategy you're currently trading. Makes no difference what market, what time frame, and I truly believe that will increase your odds for success. Unfortunately, I can't give you all of the rules to strategy 4. It wouldn't be fair to our students around the world who have purchased this method. But let's share with you some recent strategy number 4 examples. And you'll see in each one of these examples that these 2 rules were applied. Now, one of the best things about our course is that we teach you what to look for. These aren't black boxes. We teach you what all the rules are. But on our platform that I co-developed with ProTrader Strategies, they auto-identify these signals so that everything is pre-formatted, so that you don't have to look for the 50-period moving average or for bars closing in the bottom or top 25%, because it's already pre-formatted. Let me share with you what I mean here. Here's a recent chart of Google. This was just a couple of weeks ago. As we can see, the market is going lower, right? Coming into mid-October. So it looks like we're in a downtrend, right? Well, here's the process you would go through on our platform. Click on strategy number 4 right here on our green strategy tab, where all our techniques and methods are, and click on strategy number 4, and in the drop-down menu, click on signal arrow. Now, I want to get you to the point where you know automatically where a setup or a signal has been, but I want you to check your work by being able to cross-check it with the platform. So let's say you thought you saw a buy signal. Had you clicked this on, it would have told you, yes, you're correct. A buy signal was generated right here, and the stock shot up 48 points coming into the end of October, just a week or so ago. That's how simple this is. Here's another example in LIN, okay? This is once again going back a couple of weeks. Looks like the stock is basically doing nothing, right? Just kind of going sideways. Well, let's see. Maybe you identified by studying the course and saying, well, you know what? I think I identify a strategy number 4 setup. Let me check my work. The way you do that would be to click on strategy number 4 on the platform. In the drop-down menu, click on signal arrow. And if you're right, it will show you an up or down arrow where you thought a signal was. And you thought you identified a sell signal. Well, you're correct. So you checked your work, and yes, you are starting to learn how to identify and make your own trading decisions on your own. You don't have to rely on a news alert. You don't have to rely on earnings or some type of estimate or some type of economic announcement. You don't have to rely on some guy in a chat room telling you what to buy or sell, or you don't have to rely on some guy on TV or even some guy in a webinar. You are relying on a method, on a pattern that repeats itself over and over again, and you've learned how to identify it. So let's say you bought the puts, or maybe you sold short the stock if you were lucky enough. 54 points coming into the end of last month. Now, if you were long, a lot of our students don't like to go short. They don't feel comfortable. We understand that. You could have saved yourself 54 points by using this as an exiting tool. And had you missed that, there was an actual other signal generated right after that. You see how they both close in the bottom 25%. All right, we have a range market here in CDNS, all right? So this is what we're always taught. Stay away from the range markets, right? Now, this happened in summer, And that's where markets are usually very rangy, where they're kind of going sideways. A lot of the dog days of summer, a lot of people don't like to trade during that time because they feel there's not a lot of opportunities. In fact, looking at this, there really aren't a lot of opportunities. We're just in this range, right? Well, that's the way we're taught, but is that correct? Because once again, clicking on strategy 4, we would have found there was a buy signal right in the middle of that range. Now, where everyone else was avoiding this stock, thinking that there's nothing happening, you could have purchased it and in a couple of weeks, potentially captured 54 points to the upside. Now, it's funny how the stock gapped up right here, probably on some news announcement, or basically maybe some earnings estimate or something happened. But that's the beauty of when you trade methods based on market behavior. They often will give you signals prior to a big move or an announcement in the stock or the market you're following. All right, ROP, we have a current uptrend in this stock, right? It's going higher. This was just a couple of weeks ago. So most traders would say, well, yeah, you got to buy this, Steve, right? Higher highs, higher lows. But if we check our work, we see that this is actually a sell signal. So where most traders, and most traders fail by that way, but it's been estimated that 80 to 85% of all traders fail. So this is one of the reasons why. You get caught into things that don't have a high level of consistency. But strategy number 4 does. That's why I've been trading for nearly 50 years. It generated a sell signal right here. So if you were long, you could have used this to exit or maybe raise your stop so that you protect your profit. Or if you're more aggressive, you could have gone short. And coming into this month, you could have potentially captured 70 points or at least saved yourself a 70-point loss. Once again, a big gap down the very next day, probably based on some announcement. Well, it's funny how we knew a day in advance prior to any announcement. Remember, this is not based on any fundamental news and not based on economics, solely based on a pattern that repeats itself over and over again in virtually any market and any time frame. You'll learn exactly what that is in the course. All right, here we have a buy signal in crowd CRWD generated right at the very bottom of this so-called downtrend. Had you bought that in the middle of October, potentially could have captured 70 points in a little over a week. Here's a sell signal generated in MSTR. All right, you could have gone short or sold this if you were long and potentially saved yourself a 75-point loss. Or if you were more aggressive, you could have potentially had a 75-point gain. Here we have a buy signal in MU. Now, this is a weekly chart. Now, it makes no difference if we change time frames or markets. Here's a weekly chart. A buy signal was generated looking for the same pattern, and each one of these bars are weekly bars. We close now in the top 25%, and 112 points coming into this last month. Here's an example in charter CHTR. A sell signal was generated right at the high of this nice little short-term uptrend. And the very next day, gap down. Had you sold it, you could have saved yourself a 120-point loss, or once again, if you were more aggressive, could have potentially captured 120 points profit in the next couple of weeks. Let's look at the chart we opened up the presentation with. Here's a monthly chart of NVIDIA. All right, once again, this is where most traders fail because they don't know what the market wants to do. They're either listening to an outside source, like some guy on TV, tell them what they think that stock or the market's going to do. Well, if you're listening to someone, they would have said, well, yeah, the market's going up. But then all of a sudden, now it's going down. So now you're really confused. You're saying to yourself, well, gosh, I'm a long-term investor. I don't know what to do now. Should I buy this? Or maybe you're long already and you're saying to yourself, maybe I should sell this. You know, I'm a little bit confused here. This is why traders fail. You're relying on someone or something else to tell you what to do. Remember, as I said in the opening, the reason why we formulated specialist trading was to teach traders, to give them a confidence to make their own trading decisions. I started trading nearly 50 years ago on the floor of the exchange. The only traders I know who are still trading are the ones that make their own trading decisions. They don't listen to any news events. They don't wait for the guys after the market closes to see what they say on TV. They don't look for earnings or have all these convoluted indicators. They have a simple plan in place that they know has a high level of consistency, and they apply it. That's all they do. And that's what strategy 4 is. So all you have to do is click on strategy 4, click on signal arrow, and where you thought this was in a downtrend, This was actually a buy signal, April of this year. Okay, you could have purchased NVIDIA in April, and coming into this last month, you would have had over 100-point gain had you still stayed in it. That's how simple trading can be. As my mentors taught me, they said, Steve, trading is really simple. It's the trader who makes it more complicated than it has to be. And how do we make it complicated? By applying too much information, listening to too many outside sources telling us what to do. We take ourselves out of the game and we allow someone else to make the trading decisions for us. You should never do that. It's your own hard-earned money. You should get the knowledge and education and then ultimately make your own trading decisions. Now, we can apply this to other markets and other time frames. Let's look at a daily chart of the euro yen. Looks like we're in a downtrend here, right? This was just about a month ago. Well, there was a buy signal generated here at the beginning of October in the euro yen, 450 pips in the next 3 days. That's over $4,000, close to $5,000 per unit that you could potentially have captured in roughly about 3 days. Or we can look at the British pound. Looks like we're in an uptrend, right? You got to buy this, right? That they were saying on TV, the pound is going higher. Well, not really, because a sell signal was generated here. And strategy number 4 saw this drop 300 pips in the next couple of weeks. This was coming into the end of a couple of weeks ago. That's roughly $3,000 per unit. Or what about gold here? Here's a 4-hour chart of gold. Now, looking back in hindsight, someone could say, well, yeah, Steve, it's easy to see that this was going up. I mean, yeah, but gold was going up until mid to end of October. How would I have known that? I would have liked to have known that back here. Well, if you had applied strategy 4, don't you think you could have taken advantage of any one of these buy setups? This is how simple trading can be when you get out of your own way and only listen to what the market is telling you. After all, the market is what we're trading, right? That's the source of what we're looking at. Shouldn't we be taking our signals from that and not from an outside source? Okay, let's recap what we shared with you today. Strategy number 4 is a pattern recognition strategy. I gave you the first 2 rules of the pattern. There are 2 more remaining rules. It's based on this pattern that I was first taught some 4 decades ago, so you know it still works because I'm still using this to this day. It repeats itself over and over in any market, any time frame. Designed for traders looking to catch momentum. Oftentimes, as you just saw here in some examples, recent examples, or maybe only a couple of weeks old, examples where a signal was generated before the momentum started or caught on. That's the beauty of strategy number 4, because when you base your methods based on market behavior, it will often generate signals before the move takes place. That's another reason why traders lose money, because they come in when the move has already happened. You want to be able to get in before, and many times, as you just saw, strategy 4 will generate a signal before that announcement, before that gap up or that gap down. Now, the beauty is you can apply it to all markets and to all time frames. More advantages of strategy number 4 is it's extremely consistent. Remember, consistency actually is an awareness of losses. You will have losses from time to time. If anyone ever tells you, oh, I have a method here, I want to sell you, it absolutely never loses. It's been winning 100% for the past 10 years. I would run, because I've been trading for nearly 5 decades, and I still have losses from time to time. There's nothing wrong with that. That's like a baseball player having never struck out. All the great ones do. That's like a basketball player missing a basket. They all miss baskets from time to time. That's like a superstar actress or a singer having a flop album or movie. They all do. It's perfectly normal. But the good ones are the ones that can bounce back. That's what consistency means. You'll be able to recoup those losses often on the very next trade. So that's what we're looking for, consistency, because that's what will sustain you, not some fly-by-night method that promises the world and maybe has some great research and some statistics going back 5 years, but then once the market changes, everything goes out the window. And I know this because I've traded those and they've all lost money. Now, also, strategy number 4 makes you a part of the process. We give you 6 or 7 different ways to enter, 6 or 7 different ways to exit, 6 or 7 different ways to place your stop, because as we said earlier, we know that everyone trades differently. Everyone has different risk parameters. Everyone wants to get in and out at certain points. So you should be given those variables to make your own decisions. That's how you become a part of the process, not by simply following what signals were spit out the night before. It's designed to be as simple as possible. Now, those first two rules can't get any more simpler than that, right? Buy if price is above the 50 period. Sell if price is below. Look for bars in the setup bar that close in the top 25% for buys, the setup bar for sell signals in the bottom 25%. Extremely simple. And the last two rules are just as simple. So you don't have to worry and say, well, Steve, I haven't been trading that long. I just started trading a couple of weeks ago. It makes no difference. So ask yourself, after you've seen what we share with you today, do you think strategy number 4 can help your trading for the remainder of 2025, for the last 2 months? Now, if you've struggled this year, and I can almost guarantee that the majority of you have, it's just common. Like I said, 80% of all traders fail. That's okay. Here's a way to finish out 2025 strong by becoming a student of mine and a member of the strategy number 4 course. So because of that, we have a great special attendee offer for all of you today. And by a really great offer, I truly mean it, because this price is going to increase very soon. We're going to offer you our strategy number 4 momentum trader method. It's our most consistent strategy to date. That's why I still trade it on a daily basis. You'll get instant course access, detailed instruction. As I said, you'll learn all the different entries, exits, and stop placements, the automatic buy and sell arrows, the complete course rules. You can apply to any market and time frame. And remember, everything you saw today was displayed coming from our platform, the PTS Primo charting platform that I developed with Pro Trader Strategies to auto-generate these signals. So one of the best things in the world is be able to have a way to check your work. It's not just enough to know that you're identifying these signals. You want to make sure that you're identifying them correctly. And we developed the PTS Primo charting platform to help you do that, because I can't literally sit next to everyone and say, yes, that's a valid signal. You correctly identify that. No, that's not one right. Let's go over that. The platform does that for me. For example, one more thing that we have on the platform that is just great that our students are raving about is one of our exit methods. Remember, we give you upwards of 6 or 7, but here's one that's auto-identified on the platform. Now, we call this our range exits. For example, the way you would do this is, once you see a signal generated, even before you've entered into the signal, for example, the sell signal in CDNS, this older signal, you could have clicked on strategy number 4, and where before you clicked on signal arrow, now we want you to go down here to range extension exits. And what these do is there's a proprietary formula that we teach you how to compose and come up with, but it's auto-identified and auto-formatted for you that gives you these 4 different exit levels. Now, if you're the type of trader that likes to get in and out of trades quickly, well, then you would have maybe bought puts or sold short and then exited here or here on the first or second exit level. If you're the type of trader that's more of a swing trader, intermediate trader, you would have covered your short either here or here. And if you're the type of trader that looks to get as much bang for your buck and really feels that there's going to be a big move, well, then you would exit everything at the 4th and final level. Now, we always teach our students that there's lots of different ways to do it. Some of our students like to take a bit off at every level. Still, other students say, well, I'm going to get out of my stop placement, or I should say my exit level right here. But when I come down to this first level, I'll move my stop to unchanged. When price goes to the next level, then I'll just continue to follow it, and I'll move my stop down, and just track your stop until you're fully out of the trade. Whatever you decide to do, we teach you these different ways. It's up to you, but we always say that you should get out of the trade entirely by the 4th and final, because that's usually where the trend changes, and you want to be able to take profits and not give it all back. For example, let's say you had shorted this and you decided to have your exit right here where you placed a limit to cover. And look what happened. In a little over a week, you would have exited with a profit of 30 points. And as we said, we always advise our students that you should be out of your position entirely at the 4th and final level, because the trend usually changes. Had you held on the way so many traders do, they get greedy, you would have turned a nice profit into a loss. Or, for example, this weekly chart of ACN, another buy signal here, but let's say you're not sure where you want to get out. Click on strategy 4. In the drop-down menu, click on, instead of signal arrow, click on range extensions. And here you have the 4 extensions. Once again, let's say you decided that, oh, you think this is going to go at least to the 4th level, so you decide to exit right here. You place a limit to get out, and in less than a week, you have a 37-point gain before the stock falls out of bed. This is already pre-formatted and included with the platform. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to give you this great offer. We're going to throw in our strategy number 4. This is the complete course and rules manual. This is $695 value, which includes a scanner with our free real-time PTS Primo charting platform. That 6-month value of nearly $900. Now, when you combine these two together, it's normally going to cost you $1,577, close to $1,600. But here's what we're going to do. We're going to drop that, and we're going to give you the 6 months absolutely free of the platform and only charge you for strategy number 4. $695. You're going to save nearly $900 or 60%. Now, here's what we're doing, because this is another reason why this is such a great value. This is in and of itself is a great value, but we're going to be actually raising the price, because price will soon increase to $49.95, and that's just for strategy number 4. We're going to have a full price increase from $695 up to $49.95, because this is so popular around the world and we've had just great reviews. So invest in yourself. For less than $700, you can be up and running and taking your trading to the next level, strategy number 4. As I said earlier, I continue to trade with this on a daily basis. So this is my 50-year trading strategy. It's a great, great offer. I would say probably you're going to be using this for life, because it is really that good of a method. Here's how to take advantage of this. Contact my sister site, Pro Trader Strategies. They developed the platform, and they're in charge of all the discounts. I would highly recommend giving them a call at this number, 310-598-6677. They have trading consultants manning the phones right now. They'd be more than willing either to take your order over the phone or answer any question you may have about either the platform or strategy number 4. Now, that link you see at the very bottom is the link that will take you to the info page of strategy number 4, this particular offer, as well as the sign-up page. You can sign up online if you'd like, but it's not a live link. So what I would suggest is go to the little, if you see that little list, that little tray of icons on the Zoom platform where it says chart, and then it says, I'm sorry, it says question and answer, and then it also says chat box. Click on chat, and you'll open that up, and you'll see that there is a link that's been posted there. That's a live link, and that will automatically open up a browser for you so that you don't have to copy and paste this link on the very bottom, okay? I'm going to leave this information up here, but if you have a question concerning anything that I just went over today, please feel free to ask me right now. Go to the question and answer box in the Zoom reference table there, or the chat box, whichever one you want, and I'll answer your questions. I see we already have one. Steve, you showed mainly stocks, but can this be applied to any other markets? Yes, I showed some currency pair markets, but as I stated, I've been trading this for nearly 5 decades, and my market of choice is the E-mini futures. So I use this for E-mini futures. And the reason I do is because, you know, my training was on the floor, where I was in and out of trades in maybe about 2 to 5 minutes. So I'm a day trader by nature, so I like to use this on intraday trading on strategy number 4. And yes, it works amazing. I still use it to this day. Once again, it is a consistent method, meaning there will be losses. For example, today, my first trade was a break even. My second trade was a loss, but my last 2 trades were winners. So that's what we mean by consistency. You know, not every trade is going to be a winner, but you have this confidence in knowing that, well, if I do have a small loss, I'll be able to make it back very soon. That's what a consistent method is. We don't want to teach or give you methods that, oh, they have this phenomenal week where they make tons and tons of money, and then by the end of the next week, you've given it all back and then some, right? We've all been there, and that's not a consistent method. And that, you know, is how you lose sleep trading. You want something that has a 2-step forward, 1-step back approach, and strategy 4 is extremely, extremely consistent, okay? So yes, it works on any market. I use it on E-mini futures, intraday trading. You can apply it to currency pair. We have currency pair traders that trade it. We also have crypto traders that trade it as well, okay? Someone is asking, how long will this discount last for? Well, once again, Pro Trader Strategies, my sister site, is in charge of all the discounts. So it would probably be better to ask them. But in the past, when they've had a price increase like this, probably no more than a week. And then after that, it will go up to that $49.95. So sure, you have a couple of days to think about it, but $6.95, that is a really deep discount. I know there's a lot of other webinars I've attended in the past where guys have these super discounts down to $800, $900. This is still a really great discount. And remember, you get 6 months free of the platform, okay? Oh, I just got a note from from Pro Trader Strategies on Strategy 4, and I'm sorry to say, but they say the offer actually ends in the next 24 hours. So I apologize. It will not last a week. It'll be over in 24 hours. So, if you're really serious about taking your trading to the next level, come on board with a method that I've been trading now for nearly 5 decades. And so I wouldn't be trading it for that long if it wasn't working for me as well. Okay. Okay, if there are no further questions, I hope you remember, if you have questions or you want to sign up, give Pro Trader Strategies a call. They're very flexible. They'd be willing to work with you. They have payment plans available. Also, give them a call at area code 310-598-6677. Okay. As we close and take one last look at our disclaimer, I just want to say thank you once again for taking time out of your Wednesday for watching this educational presentation. But most especially, I want to thank you and look forward to all of you becoming students of mine in the Strategy Number 4 course. Thank you so much. Remember to give Pro Trader Strategies a call, and I wish you all the best of luck in trading. Bye-bye.